Welcome to the Power of Local podcast, where we discuss all things local business, and we are always vocal for local. Hi, I'm Rebecca Melançon, and this is my partner at the Local Business Institute, Vicky Valdez, and we're here today for the Power of Local podcast, where we talk about all things local business. How are you doing, Vicky?
I'm doing great today. I'm excited about the topic today we're going to be talking about. So let's get started.
Good, good. We're talking about the humanity of local business. And it's a topic that's near and dear to my heart because I feel like something in the last period of time has been lost. And we think about business as something separate from human beings, right? And the reality is, it's not separate from human beings, it's for us. And I recently wrote a blog illustrating that business is for us. We're not for business in the way of what's created for who. And the humanity of business seems to have taken a sideline, and I want to bring it back and highlight it. So, what does that mean, right? Whether humanity of business? Of course, we're people. Well, as many of you know, at the Local Business Institute, when we talk about small business, we don't really talk about B2B or B2C. We talk about H to H because all small local business is human to human. And I just want to talk about emphasizing that human aspect. So, what do you think, Vicky?
I think it's real important to have that human aspect. I think we've lost some things here recently over the last number of years, and our local businesses are the ones that seem to maintain the H to H, and we as consumers appreciate that when we walk into their establishments.
Oh, that's so true. It's like what makes a local business special, right? Well, a large part of it is sure it's products and services, but it's the experience when you walk in the door. And they often know your name and they welcome you in a very different way. I mean, local businesses are your neighbors, your friends, they're part of your community. They consider their businesses like a living, breathing entity in the community. And they support the community in a way that big business doesn't. So I don't want to spend our time here today slamming big business because we all need big business. It does
We
amazing
do.
things in our country. And we don't ever look at things as an either or. It's not either or. We need both, but one shouldn't exist at the extinction of the other. And we all know which side will go extinct if that happens. So we want
No,
to make
yes.
sure that doesn't happen. But the experiences at a local business are unparalleled, really. It's what they give you as human to human when you walk in the door. Um, I have a quick story when I first moved to Fayetteville during the pandemic, and it was a scary time for everybody, right? We were all worried about where is this pandemic going, and I guess I was feeling a little damaged, and so I came here, and it was like I said, it was during the pandemic, so there was only curb service, but we went to this small local bakery, and you called in your order, and I didn't know it then, but it was the owner that brought our order out to the car, and I'm
Oh,
sitting
wow.
feeling a little besieged, probably like everybody. And I rolled down the window, all with our mask on, and she said, "Morning, lovelies. Here's your coffee and croissants." And I just melted, absolutely melted. And you think that small touch of that is what human to human is all about. And it made such a difference. We've all had those stories.
It does make a big difference. I'm glad you shared that experience because a lot of small business owners, local business owners, they really do know that that is important and that's how they connect with their customers. And it's that slight little smile. It could be a hello, knowing by name, you by name, but even that, just saying, hello, lovelies. Oh, that's so nice.
It was magical, absolutely magical. And, there's another aspect here in that if I go into a local restaurant that maybe does specials once a week and they do a spectacular special, and I go up to the owner and say, hey, this was really amazing. You should put this on the menu all the time. You know what? That may very well show up on the menu all the time. But try walking into a chain restaurant and
Oh
saying,
no,
oh, this is really good. Should be on the menu, right? Oh, that'll never happen because they take their orders from someplace else.
that's right. That's
Or
right.
I know when I was in Austin, where it's very hot, I used to get frustrated because if there I went into a big department store and their clothing was ordered like in Chicago or someplace like that, and there are all these wool sweaters, and I mean, I would have to turn on the air conditioning in the winter in Austin to wear a wool sweater. So it's the
Yeah,
uniqueness of the items as well. There, I think local business is much more responsive, again, to the human beings that it serves. And
I agree with you on that. Yes.
oh, that's what it's all about. It's us taking care of us, neighbors taking care of neighbors. And the news headlines are always filled with profit stories, right? This company's losing
Always profit.
profit,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
company's gaining profit, and that's all they talk about. And I guess personally, I feel like business does not exist for profit. It exists for us, and profit is a byproduct.
Of
And
it. No, I agree with you. Yeah.
you can have both. You can have a very human centric business that cares
Human
about
and
customers, human to human,
being
right?
human also and being nice and actually acknowledging that the customer is the reason why the business is there and just the importance of the customer. And, I think sometimes customer service is also taken a change, not from our local businesses, but from our big businesses. Again, not to bash the big businesses, but the local businesses do still remember the H to H. They do remember that smile, like I mentioned earlier. And even knowing your name makes such a big difference when you walk in.
Oh, I think they don't just remember it, they live it because that
They do, don't they?
for so many of them, it means success. I know there was a restaurant in Austin that I frequented all the time. In fact, we called it our corporate dining room. And what I loved is I went there so much that on those days when I was just absolutely exhausted and had decision fatigue, there was one day where I walked in and I said, I don't know, just bring me something. And you know what? They did. They knew what
They
I ate,
did.
they knew what I liked, and they brought me something. And I have never felt so well cared for.
Feels
It
so good, doesn't it? When they actually can say, "Oh, well, nope, let me bring you what I think you need." And sure enough, they do, and they know exactly what's going to make you happy.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, that to me is the epitome of the small local business experience that you can walk in
Hmm.
and be taken care of in that way. It's pretty awesome. And that's what local business is all about. We're here to serve others. Um, we think, like again, going back to the news headlines, it's all tariffs, which are an issue. It's all the economy, which is an issue. I mean, I
Issue.
get those things, but local business doesn't seem to lose sight of the fact that every one of us, whether it's products or services, are here to serve others and make a
They
profit.
do that. Yeah. They
I,
do that. They do that. And also, there's such a vital importance. It's so important to the community. Every different community has their own local businesses that shape what the feel, the excitement, the flavor, if you will, of that community. And that is priceless because there's some communities that really, really just sing because of their local businesses that are there.
I used to have a bumper sticker that said, experience the flavor of local.
Oh, I love
And
that.
it was really fun because most people got it. They got, what I was trying to say. And there were a few people
Hmm.
like, am I supposed to eat local? I mean, is this a restaurant thing? Or it's like, it's whatever you want it to be. But note that local experience and the flavor of that
The
is
flavor of
what makes
local.
our cities and makes us all
Hmm.
unique. And oh my goodness, we don't want to ever lose that. But
No.
It's those human experiences, that connectivity of local businesses. And at another time, on another podcast, we'll talk about their economic power because it's huge and what it does in our community. It is massive. But today it's kind of about the humanity of local business and
Local business.
making the point that, business exists for us humans, not the other way around. And if we approach it that way, like most small business owners do, just makes a better world. And, I think
I
that's
agree with you.
the
Oh,
thing.
yes.
So let's close up this podcast and let's go to a local business and experience the thing that we've been talking about. Well,
Oh, I know exactly where I'm going to go.
yep, we're headed out right now. So Vicky, I want to thank you for being here today and
Thank you.
talking to all of our fans out there at the Power of Local podcast, produced by the Local Business Institute. And I want to say we are always, always, always vocal for local. And we want you to be too. So that's why we're sharing this with you. So we'll close out now, but we will see you next time. Thank you for joining us today for the Power of Local podcast, where we encourage you to always be vocal for local. See you next time.